and welcome back to this channel. I am the Spell Singer, and this is my ongoing review of Sagard the Barbarian Gamebook series. And in this review, I'm going to give you a quick look at this particular title and the book number, and then I shall read the blurb, we'll check out the plot, have a look at those game mechanics and the adventure sheet. I'll chat a bit about the artwork, which I'll run through this video, and then look at my own likes and dislikes, any fun facts, and then we'll finish on a summary and a score out of 10. So yeah, this is book number 3. This is The Crimson Sea, Sagard the Barbarian, and it was published in 1986. Now the two authors are the same. We've got Flint Dill, Gary Gygax, and this cover art here. So this was the British one here. This was the British cover by Dino De Chill. But if you were stateside, then you've got Richard Corbin, and that's this one here. So both depicting a really nice cover, really great, captures that kind of epic storytelling for barbarians, and it's just really suitable. It really comes out at you. I think this British cover here, though, I think this is pretty much what, I know, maybe drove me to buy this one back in the day. I think I picked it up back in the 80s in a jumble sale, or if you're American, a yard sale. But yeah, that really captured me, really captured the imagination. Great covers. The internal artwork is by Leslie Muriel. So a great combination for these two great authors, and brilliant illustrations for the internal artwork. So let's read the blurb. So this is what we've got for The Crimson Sea. So you are Sagard the Barbarian, sailing the treacherous, blood-stained Crimson Sea. You must embark on a journey of unspeakable horror to rescue your beautiful companion, Ketza Kota, and fulfill your destiny. And you will encounter the deadly coils of a sea serpent, hordes of ferocious flying reptiles, and the flesh-ripping arrows of the Vatmosian marauders. But will you survive the most deadly foe of all, the evil Sultoon, who rules a city of wicked sorcery? Fight bloody battles against merciless foes. There can be no going back, no surrender. Live or die, the choice is yours. I really love these books. I mean, they get a lot of slack, but I think they're fun, and they really bring you back to that good old Dungeons and Dragons feel. They're not difficult, they're not overly large books, but they are fun, and they're great for sort of getting started if you're not, big on the whole game book thing. So yeah, I recommend these books. They're a lot of fun. So the plot for this book. So this one, at the beginning of the book, after your adventure on the Isle of Slith, you've got Sagard's female companion, Ketza Kota. Remember her? Now she's kidnapped straight away by these slave traders, and you basically have to learn of her whereabouts, to eventually undertake a kind of sea voyage from the land of Hitaxia in order to, rescue her. So after relaxing in Paradise Cove, right at the start of this book, in the pirate island of St. Cole, with your princess girlfriend, Ketza Kota, yeah, like I say, she gets kidnapped and taken away from you by this slaver. So you have to embark on this long journey to rescue her. That's essentially the plot. The Crimson Sea allows you to play the ship captain, which is a lot of fun, and it's different. You embark on this kind of long voyage as the ship captain, and you explore all the waters. Ketza Kota doesn't seem to be of much value in this book, unlike book 2. And is removed from the picture quite early on after her kidnap. But then you're kind of shunted off onto this standard treasure hunt quest. And there is much variety in this episode as you kind of work your way through the plot, beginning on the beach with your princess. You soon receive leads from all these locals that point to either a gambling pit or kind of a slaver's market. The slavers' market of St. Cole. So I'll put up a map and you can sort of see where we go from. So you board the Midnight Reaper, the pirate ship, and you choose to sail to 3 of 4 local islands, and they're called the island Gold, Hope, Despair, and Dread. And finally, you land at Taboo Bellaboo, sorry, which is this sort of final destination for you, and it's the Sultoon's palace as well, which is located on this land. And you basically rescue your princess from there. And this is like the most interesting book in the series for me. It really stands out. The book involves this, like I say, this sea voyage where you have freedom of movement to explore the seas. It's quite open world. The Crimson Sea is the 3rd game book in the Sagard, the Barbarian series. So you've got all that establishment. It's very open world. It expands on the kind of history of the Ratican barbarian. So it's really progressing nicely and building up towards that final book 4. So let's take a look at the game mechanics and the adventure sheet for book 3. Now, the rules of ship movement on this one, most of the mechanics are the same for your personal battles, but the ship movement on this one involves rolling a single die or just flipping the books. Remember, you've got the 1 to 4 numbers on the pages as well, so you can flip through them if you don't have a die. So what you do is you to roll for your ship, you roll a single die to see which hex you fall on during every move. So every time you sail out, you roll a single die, and this makes it very random and easy for you to kind of manipulate the rules system in order to avoid encounters and thus reach the final destination without too much danger. So to explain, if you decide to explore, you'll find a lot of sort of easy battles, plenty of treasure, some dangerous fights, which are some of them really quite unfair, that you can only count on luck to win. But yeah, there's plenty of exploration in this book, mostly random since the map gives no real clues to sort of navigate, which means you have a kind of 50% chance of reaching a safety or the safety of a port and 50% chance of your ship sinking. The frequent battles are easy most of the time, sort of generally quite easy, and the book has a lot of mass combat and naval battles to get stuck into, and the consequences of losing these often they're not too harsh, but all in all it's quite a well-balanced book. Now, the way the sailing works in this book, if you see this image here, you can draw a line. So you start off in the top corner there, and you draw a line from the hex that you are on, that you occupy, pointing to whatever hex you want to go to. And the winds and the currents play a part in this too. So you may be blown off course. So you flip the book or you roll your single die to sort of determine this. Now, once you arrive at your destination, or once you've chosen a destination from your first point A to point B, for example, you flip the pages or you roll your die, and on a 2 or 3, you arrive safely at the hex that you want to arrive at, the safe destination. If you get a 1, you arrive to the left of that hex, and if you get a 4, you arrive to the right. So it could be enough to sort of cause some big problems, but it's quite nice because it's quite unexpected. You can't really predict what's going to happen. You repeat this process until you arrive at a lettered hex, as you can see in the image, and then you just match the letter against the section number and turn to that reference. It works really well. It's quite straightforward, quite simple, but really clever. You can't leave the map, but why would you want to? So that's a funny little foible in this adventure game book, that it sort of states that you can't leave the map, but yeah, why would you want to do that? You can't sail on land, obviously, otherwise it's instant shipwreck. And if you land on a port hex, you can venture, inland, make ship repairs if you want, quite cool. However, you may not make port twice on the same island. So once you've sort of been to one of these places, Gold, Hope, Despair, or Dread, you can't revisit it. So you've got to make the most of it. Now, for the naval battles, these mainly work in the same manner as individual combat, but occasionally this differs. Now, sometimes you get 3 additional battle options while you're out at sea, And those are ramming. So if you flip a 4 or you roll a 4, you've basically sunk your enemy ship. If you flip a 1, the enemy are trying to sink your ship. And if you roll or flip another 1, you sink. So pretty brutal. Then there is missile fire. So you've got ramming, you've got missile fire, which is like standard battle rules, but also boarding. So there's your third one, boarding. So where you count up your ship strength points for both sides, and then you flip or roll for both sides, and you reduce the other side by 1 every time you flip or roll a 4. And you just keep doing this, until the end of the battle. So although it's not groundbreaking, the game mechanics are simple enough to master really quickly. And I always felt I was left wanting a little bit more from this battle system. But yeah, that's what we've got, and it works fine. Now, here's the adventure sheet. It's not that different from the one we got in the other two, but there's a couple of changes. So you've got your gold instead of your trophies up in the top right there. Everything else seems to be the same except for the ship's crew status at the bottom. So you've got your usual current hit points, your experience points, because of course you're carrying over everything from the book 2, the previous book. But you've also got your current strength points in there as well. So that's quite cool, your ship strength points. Usual weapons and armor and the effects they have on combat, and then special items and the powers that they grant you. So all that stuff gets carried over. And at this point, you might be thinking you've amassed quite a lot of gold. What is the purpose of it? Well, you will find that out in book 4. You will need all your gold. Trust me. Okay, let's chat about the artwork. Now, Leslie Merrill returns after having contributed the illustrations for the past 2 books. Mostly his work was children's books throughout the 70s, the 80s and into the 90s. And his work appears in sort of more than 100 books, certainly 100 children's books. And he became especially well known for his kind of animal illustrations, really great illustrations. Merrill's art here is very consistent. It suits this style and tone of story, and it provides lots of action-packed imagery, including all these different shark attacks that you get involved in, the kind of the defeated slavers that you get to battle against, and the battling warships. Really, really strong artwork in this book. A lot of it, when you're reading it, I mean, all of it, I remember from my childhood reading this book. Some of the images, they just don't go away. And then when I got back into these after COVID, strong nostalgia from a lot of this excellent work by Leslie Merrill. And there are also plenty of wonderful landscape illustrations like the Hitaxian fort and the mountain caves on the Isle of Dread. So sadly, this is, or would be, the last book in this series that Merrill did the illustrations for, which is a bit of a shame. But as always, I've got a fave picture. This one here, this is Fleeing the Slith Assassin. And to give you an idea, I will read to you the paragraph, the reference that goes with it, so you can get an idea of Leslie Merrill, what he had to work with. So it says here, fleeing the Slith Assassin, as the Slith Assassin pulls a fresh dagger from his vest, you jump out of the way. You lose your balance and slide helplessly down the side of a dome, landing on the hard stone. You watch in helpless horror as the Slith Assassin pulls a fire dart from his vest and throws it. The hideous projectile streaks across the sky after the bat and Ketza Kota. When it hits, there is a burst of light, and then nothing. Picking yourself up off the ground, you notice for the first time that chaos has overtaken the palace. Men of all description battle each other for the Sultoon's throne before his body is cold. Such are the politics of Hitaxia. Yeah, so this is the Slith Assassin that is throwing all these pesky knives at you. And you probably got an idea that, the mission to rescue Ketza Kota, Princess, is not going particularly well. Right, my own likes and dislikes for Book 3, Crimson Sea. I really love the seafaring nature of this adventure. And it's a nice change from the previous kind of travelling on foot, over land, over the landscapes. So that's a nice change. I like the simple rescue, revenge type nature of this book. Different kind of adventure. And the writing style is still fun. It's still simple. The artwork complements the narrative really well. There is much to explore in this open world style book. But it still has that standard barbarian journey acting as kind of bookends, either side of the seafaring act, which is fine. It breaks it up. It's good. It's good to have a bit of variety, right? Now there's even a heart-wrenching section towards the end that leads nicely into book 4 that involves your princess. So it kind of makes you want to get that 4th book to see the end. How does it end? I especially enjoyed how Sagard's world is human-centric and brutal, focusing on themes like slavery, piracy, despotism, rather than your typical fantasy elves and fairies. It was like a good old 80s, they weren't afraid to touch on the things that would be frowned upon, rightly so, but frowned upon these days, certainly in a game book aimed at kids. So my only gripe with this one, similar to previous Sagard books, the battles are many and can take a while to work through, and this can take you out of the world slightly at times. However, it is a barbarian adventure, so you have to expect battles, so it can be forgiven. Right, my fun facts for book 3. A little bit on Flint Dill. So he started his career by co-creating Sagard the Barbarian, Dungeons and Dragons with the legend Gary Gygax. Dill also wrote and served as story editor for several Sunbow animation series in the 1980s. So including G.I. Joe, Transformers, Inhumanoids, I think as well, and the Visionaries. So some real big iconic names there. And as story editor for the original Transformers cartoon, he managed a script writing and maintained sort of the story continuity as well. And developing the Transformers origin story was a big thing for him. His work significantly influenced pop culture in many ways, and he is even credited with that famous death of Optimus Prime. That was a tearjerker. Right, let's summarise this book and give it a score. So this is all good. It's an all-round barbarian romp. Continues on from the previous book really nicely and provides more story with some character building in there for our protagonist. Like the rest of the series, the book offers an interesting sort of detailed setting, really nice. So it's a shame it never really takes off in terms of the level of challenge. A lot of these books are quite easy, and of course they get easier because of the character progression, so you get stronger as you progress through the books. So by book 4, you shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with that demon boss. So it does give you a chance to sort of ignore the main storyline for a while, certainly, which is a nice thing, because you get to undertake this sea quest and do a bit of pirating. So that's nice. It's not too complex, but the adventure is flexible, which is always a good thing. The book is never as challenging or interesting as, say, the fighting fantasy book Seas of Blood. I don't know if you've read that one. That was a really good pirate sort of swashbuckling sea adventure, but obviously that came not too... Well, actually, do you know what? It probably was around about the same time, that sort of 1986 era, so it would have come out not too far from each other, but that one is infinitely better than this one, but of course it's a different world, and this is aimed at a slightly different audience as well, in my opinion. The book is, like I say, not as challenging as it could have been, but that's something that the series kind of suffers from. Now, within Crimson Sea, the frequent battles are quite easy. Like I've mentioned, most of the time, at least with an experienced character, they're quite easy. If you have played through the series, Sagard can be quite powerful by this stage, so you shouldn't struggle too much to finish this particular book. You've picked up all the weapons and items along the way. The book has a lot of mass combat as well, sort of grouped combat, so not just one-on-one, a lot of naval battles, but they kind of add little in terms of strategy. The consequences of losing the naval battles are fair, but there is a battle, like I say, near the end, which is maybe a bit too difficult. Now, while Crimson Sea lacks those instant deaths that we all love so much, the book will punish you if you stray too far from that chosen path. Leslie Morill's illustrations for the first 2 titles in the series were really good. The art here is the same and it kind of suits the adventure really well. There are plenty of landscapes, like I mentioned, seafaring, pictures, really nice imagery, kind of lots of creative kind of illustrations for the monsters, full of variety and lots of detail. However, Morill was replaced by Ian McCaig for the final book in this series. So I don't know why they did that. I'm sure there's a reason. So yeah, he was replaced by Ian McCaig, which is an odd but welcome decision. You know, Ian McCaig, he's great in his own way. He was very popular in the Fighting Fantasy series as well. But yeah, Crimson Sea, it offers an interesting, detailed setting with much battling and seafaring to be had. And for me, the adventure stands out as the best in this series of 4 books. So, sum all that up, I would give it a good 6 out of 10 for Book 3, Crimson Sea. Yeah, that's the review. I hope you like that. It's a really good book. It adds to the story and it leads well into the final book, which I will review next. So if you liked this, give it a thumbs up maybe. Give me a comment, let me know what your thoughts were. Did you finish this one? And I will catch you in the next review, which will be Book 4, Fire Demon. Take care.